You feel me? You ever had life punch you so hard, you had to just sit there like, Lord, what was that?
You laughs from the crowd. I'm serious.
You ever been hit so hard by life, you feel me? You check your pockets like, did I at least get paid for this beating? See, we all been there. You lose a job, somebody walks out, your dream falls apart. You feel me? The bills don't stop, and you start asking, why me? But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. When life knocks you down, you feel me? It ain't the end, it's the beginning. Because sometimes God will let you hit rock bottom just to show you He is the rock at the bottom. You hear me? See, you feel me? Faith don't mean you won't fall. Faith means when you fall, you don't stay down. You get up, dust yourself off, and say, okay, you feel me. God, let's try this again. That's the power of faith when life knocks you down. Steve Harvey doesn't sugarcoat it. Life is tough, no matter who you are. Rich, you feel me? Poor, famous, unknown. Life will test you. It's not if it happens, it's when. You're going to get hit by disappointment, heartbreak, rejection, and loss. You feel me. That's the human experience. But here's the key Steve always emphasizes. The hit might knock you down, but it can't knock out your purpose. Think of life like a boxing ring. You're in there throwing punches, chasing your dreams, working hard, and then bam! You feel me? Life hits you with something you didn't see coming. You lose your job. The deal falls through. Someone walks out on you. Your dream falls apart. Now, when that happens, you feel me. Most people make the mistake of thinking it's over. They confuse being knocked down with being knocked out. But Steve will tell you straight, there's a big difference. You feel me? Being knocked down just means you're human. Being knocked out only happens if you stay down. See, you feel me? Your purpose, that reason God put you here, can't be destroyed by failure, mistakes, or pain. It's untouchable. It's divine. You were born with it. You feel me? And no matter what life throws your way, that purpose stays alive inside you, waiting for you to stand back up and move forward again. Steve often talks about how his life fell apart before success ever came. He was homeless, broke, living out of his car, but he still had a dream, a calling. You feel me? And when life hit him hard, that dream was the only thing that kept him going. Because here's what faith teaches you. When life hits you, you feel me? It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to reveal you. That pain, that struggle, it strips away the distractions, the ego. You feel me? The fake stuff, and what's left is the real you. The one who can handle the blessing that's coming next. Now, Steve says something powerful about purpose. He says, your gift will make room for you. That means when you walk in your purpose, no matter how hard life hits, the world will eventually open up to you. You feel me? You just got to stay in the fight long enough to see it happen. So when you get knocked down, don't focus on the hit. Focus on the lesson. You feel me? Because that hit might just be the push you needed to grow, to move, to rise. Life's going to test your faith, your strength, your patience. You feel me? But it can't take away your purpose, not unless you let it. So what does Steve want you to remember? You feel me? That being hit doesn't mean you failed. It means you're in the fight. As long as there's breath in your body, your story ain't over. As long as you can get up one more time, then you fall, you're still in the game. Because the hit might shake you, but purpose. Purpose don't fall. You feel me? Purpose stands back up. There comes a point in life where you run out of strength. You've tried everything. You've prayed. You've worked. You've cried. You feel me. And nothing's moving. That's when you hit what Steve calls empty. It's that place where you don't even know how to keep going. You're too tired to fight. You feel me? Too confused to plan, too hurt to smile. You look around and think, man, how did I end up here? Now, you feel me? That moment, that empty space is dangerous if you don't have faith. Because when you're empty, you're vulnerable. You start doubting yourself. You feel me? You start thinking maybe the dream was too big. Maybe you don't deserve better. Maybe this is all there is. And that's where faith steps in. You feel me? Faith ain't something you pull out when life is good. Faith is what keeps you alive when life ain't. It's not just belief in God. You feel me? It's belief that God still has a plan for you, even when everything around you looks hopeless. Steve Harvey says, when I had nothing, no money, no home, no comfort, I had one thing left, faith, and that one thing was enough. When Steve was sleeping in his car, he didn't know when his next meal was coming. You feel me? He didn't know if he'd ever make it. But every morning, he woke up and said, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you. And that right there, that's faith. Faith isn't about having the answers. You feel me? It's about trusting that God already does. When you're empty, faith becomes your fuel. It becomes the voice that says, you feel me. Keep going. Don't give up yet. Something's coming. You just hold on. And that's what separates people who quit from people who rise. You feel me? The ones who quit rely only on their own strength. The ones who rise rely on God's. See, your strength will run out. Your plan might fall apart. Your people might walk away. But God's faithfulness never leaves. Here's something powerful Steve once said, faith is like Wi-Fi. It's invisible. You feel me, but it connects you to what you need. You can't see it, but when you believe, you're connected to divine power. You're plugged into something greater than your pain, greater than your fear. And when you walk by faith, not by sight, that's when miracles start happening. Not because everything suddenly gets easy, you feel me, but because you start seeing purpose in the hard stuff. Faith gives you the strength to keep standing when your knees are shaking. It gives you the will to smile through tears. It gives you peace when nothing makes sense. So when you hit that wall, when life drains you dry, remember this, you don't have to have it all figured out. You feel me. You just have to have faith that God does. Faith is what lifts you when you're empty. Faith is what moves mountains you can't climb. You feel me. And faith is what turns your lowest valley into the road to your greatest victory. You see, you feel me. A lot of people think having faith means sitting back and waiting for a miracle to show up. But that ain't real faith. Real faith, the kind Steve Harvey preaches about, will stretch you, scare you, and shake you before it blesses you. You feel me? Faith will make you do things that don't make sense to your logic. It'll tell you to quit that job that's killing your spirit. You feel me? It'll whisper to you to start the business when you ain't got a dime. It'll tell you to forgive someone who broke your heart. And your mind will scream, you feel me? That's crazy. But your spirit, your faith will say, do it anyway. That's because faith ain't about comfort. It's about courage. You feel me? Steve Harvey often says, if you want to walk with God, you're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Why? Because God doesn't grow you in the safe zone. He grows you in the stretch zone. You feel me? Faith will take you out of everything that feels familiar because God can't bless the old you while you're still clinging to your old life. You can't pray for a new level and expect to stay in the same place. You can't ask for a breakthrough and not expect something to break first. That's why Steve says, faith ain't for the weak. It's for the warriors. Let's talk truth. When Steve started in comedy, he had nothing but a dream and a couple of suits. He was broke. You feel me? Sleeping in his car, showering in hotel bathrooms. And you know what? He was scared. He didn't know how he'd make it. You feel me? But faith doesn't need you to know how. It just needs you to take the first step. He said, I didn't see the staircase, but I took the first step anyway.
That's faith.
Not seeing the end of the road, but walking it like it's already done. When you move with that kind of belief, bold, fearless, obedient, things start to shift. Doors open that you never saw coming. People show up out of nowhere. You feel me? But none of that happens while you're sitting in your comfort zone. Faith will ask you to risk looking foolish. It'll ask you to take leaps when everyone else stays safe. You feel me? It'll test your trust, not to destroy it, but to prove it. Because you can't build courage without being scared first. And you can't build faith without taking risks. You feel me? So when God puts something on your heart that feels too big, too scary, too impossible, that's not a sign to run. That's your faith training ground. That's God saying, I'm about to grow you. Faith is stepping out when you don't have the full plan. It's believing before you see. It's walking by trust, not by sight. You feel me? And Steve will tell you every blessing he ever received came right after a moment of fear. You feel me? Because faith doesn't eliminate fear. It gives you the courage to move through it. So if you're uncomfortable right now, if you're scared, good. That means you're right where you're supposed to be. Because faith ain't comfortable. It's courageous. Let's be honest. Waiting is hard. You pray for that door to open and it stays shut. You give your all to a dream and nothing seems to move. You try to do right and life still hits you left and right. And in those moments, it's easy to look up and say, God, did you forget about me? But Steve Harvey will tell you straight, no, God didn't forget. You feel me. He's just working on your preparation. See, what we call delay, God calls development. Because here's the truth. You might be ready for the blessing, you feel me, but the blessing might not be ready for you yet. God doesn't give you things when you want them. He gives them when you can handle them. You feel me? You ever notice how people pray for success, but when they get it too soon, it destroys them? That's because they weren't built to carry it yet. So when God makes you wait, you feel me. He's not punishing you. He's preparing you. Steve said once, I asked God for a lot of things and he didn't give them to me right away. And now I see why. I would have messed it all up.
That's powerful.
Because sometimes if God gave you what you asked for too early, you'd lose it. You feel me. You wouldn't know how to handle it, protect it, or even appreciate it. So what does he do? He puts you through delay to build your discipline. You feel me? He puts you through waiting to build your wisdom. He puts you through struggle to build your strength. Think about it. Steve Harvey's career didn't explode overnight. You feel me? He spent years doing small gigs, driving all over the country, living out of his car. It looked like failure, but really it was training. God was teaching him humility. You feel me? Persistence and trust. So when the big break came, he wouldn't crack under pressure. Because here's the thing about blessings. You feel me? They don't just change your situation, they reveal your character. And God wants your character to match your calling. You feel me? So the next time you're in a waiting season, stop asking, why me? Start asking, you feel me? What are you teaching me? Because that delay might just be the very thing saving you from something you're not ready for yet. You feel me? You can't skip the process and expect the promise. You got to let God build you for what you've been praying for. Steve loves to remind people, you feel me? Sometimes God holds it back not because you ain't worthy, but because you ain't ready. And when you finally are, when your patience is grown, your faith has strengthened, and your heart's in the right place, that thing you've been waiting for will come so fast, it'll make your head spin. You feel me? Because when God delivers, he over-delivers. So don't mistake the delay for denial. The longer you wait, the greater the reward. You feel me? Because God ain't slow. He's strategic. He's not ignoring you. He's aligning you. And when the timing is right, you feel me? That door won't just open, it'll swing wide. Here's something Steve says often. You feel me? Fear and faith can't live in the same house. You can't be praying for a miracle while doubting it in the same breath. You feel me? You can't ask God to open a door while you're standing there scared to walk through it. See, both faith and fear require you to believe in something you can't see. You feel me? Faith believes something good is going to happen. Fear believes something bad is going to happen. And whichever one you feed, that's the one that wins. You feel me? Steve's been through some dark, uncertain moments. There were nights when he didn't know where he'd sleep, when he'd eat, or how he'd pay his bills. Fear whispered, you feel me? You're done. Faith whispered, keep going. And the choice he made in those moments determined everything. Because when you give fear a voice, it becomes your master. But when you speak faith, it becomes your fuel. Fear is sneaky. It doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes it's that little voice that says, maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you're too late. Maybe it's not going to work. But faith speaks a different language. Faith says, I'm not qualified, but God is. I may not see how you feel me, but I know who. I don't need to know the plan. I just need to trust the process. Steve puts it like this, you feel me. If you're praying about something and worrying about it, at the same time, you're canceling your own prayer. That right there is the truth. You feel me? You can't expect faith to move mountains while fear is building walls in your mind. Now, fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. You feel me? But what faith does is teach you how to move anyway. Faith doesn't mean the fear disappears. It means you've decided not to let it drive. You can have fear in the back seat. That's fine, but faith has to be behind the wheel. Here's the real difference between fear and faith. Fear paralyzes you. Faith propels you. Fear says, what if it doesn't work? Faith says, what if it does? Fear focuses on what could go wrong. Faith focuses on what could go right. Steve Harvey always reminds people, if he had listened to fear, we wouldn't even know his name today. He said, fear kept telling me I couldn't do comedy. You feel me? Faith told me to get on that stage. And that one act of faith, that one step of obedience changed his entire life. So when fear starts creeping in, you feel me? You got to recognize it for what it is, a distraction, a lie, a test. And the way you pass that test is by talking back to it. When fear says, you can't, you say, watch me. Because God can, the truth is, both fear and faith will always knock at your door. But but only one can come inside. You feel me? So the question is, who are you going to let in? Because you can't have faith and fear living under the same roof. One's got to go. You ever notice how when life gets the hardest, that's when you start questioning everything? You say, God,
Why me?
why this? Why now? But Steve Harvey will look you right in the eye and tell you, your struggle is not punishment. You feel me? It's proof that God is still working on you. See, the devil don't bother people who ain't got no purpose. He only attacks what's valuable. You feel me? If your life feels like it's been one storm after another, that's not a sign you're cursed. It's a sign you're chosen. You feel me? Because the closer you get to your breakthrough, the harder the enemy fights to stop you. So that pressure you're feeling, that's heaven sharpening you. That pain you're carrying, that's God preparing you. That delay you hate, that's your destiny marinating. Steve tells this story a lot about being broke, homeless. You feel me? Living in his car. He said there were nights when he sat in that car crying, saying, God, where are you? But looking back, you feel me? He realized God was right there the whole time, not fixing it for him, but through him. You feel me? Because the struggle was shaping the man Steve needed to become to handle the blessing he was asking for. If Steve had gotten everything he wanted when he wanted it, you feel me? He said he never would have learned gratitude, humility, or endurance. The pain gave him power. The setback gave him strength. The struggle gave him substance. You feel me? Here's something Steve said that hits home. Sometimes God lets you hit rock bottom so you'll discover that he's the rock at the bottom. You see, you feel me. When everything falls apart and you've got nothing left but faith, that's when you finally realize God was your source all along. It's not about how hard you fall. It's about what you learn while you're down there, because that's where transformation happens, not in the good times. You feel me, but in the grind. Your struggle isn't meant to break you. It's meant to build you. You don't build muscle without resistance. You don't build faith without trials. You don't build strength without pain. So every time life knocks you down, instead of saying, why me? Try saying, thank you. You feel me. Lord, you must be preparing me for something big, because the struggle you're in today is the story that's going to inspire someone else tomorrow. You feel me? When you're going through it, you can't always see the purpose. But when you come out of it, you'll look back and say, if I hadn't gone through that, you feel me, I wouldn't be who I am. Steve Harvey says, your setback is a setup for your comeback. And that comeback ain't random. It's divine. You feel me? So the next time you feel like giving up, remember this: the struggle means there's something worth fighting for. The pain means there's something powerful on the other side. And the fact that you're still breathing, that means God ain't done with you yet. You feel me? Because your struggle isn't the end of your story. It's just the chapter where the hero learns what they're made of. And that hero, you feel me, my friend, is you. Here's what Steve Harvey says all the time. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That's not just a quote. That's a principle. Because faith doesn't look at what is. Faith looks at what can be. The problem is, you feel me, most people let their circumstances shrink their vision. They look at their bank account, their age, their past, their pain, and they start believing that's all there is. But Steve says, you can't outdream God. If you think small, you'll live small. You feel me. But if you dare to believe bigger, even when nothing around you looks possible. That's when heaven starts rearranging things in your favor. Now, let's be real. Believing big is hard when life looks small. When the bills are stacking, the doors keep closing, and the dream feels far away, it's easy to say, maybe it's not for me. But faith says the opposite. Faith says, already mine, I'm just walking toward it. See, you feel me? God doesn't show you dreams to tease you. He shows you dreams to train your belief. If you can dream it, you feel me. It's because it already exists. You just haven't caught up to it yet. Steve Harvey talks a lot about this from his own life. He said when he was broke, driving a used car, wearing old shoes, he'd still imagine himself standing on a big stage, making people laugh, hosting a TV show. And people thought he was crazy, feel me. But he kept saying, one day. And that's what faith sounds like, one day. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Because when your mind believes something big, you feel me, your actions start moving in that direction, even when the world says, oh, no. Here's what Steve means when he says believe, bigger, when the world says impossible. You say, watch God. When people tell you you're too old, too late, too broke, you say, God ain't through with me yet. When you can't see the way, you still walk like you already arrived. Faith requires you to see past your now into your next. You feel me? And that's the secret of belief. It's not about what you see with your eyes. It's about what you feel in your spirit. Steve once said, you feel me? God didn't bring you this far just to show you what you can't have. Think about that. If God gave you a dream, it's because he intends to deliver it. You feel me? But he can't do that if you keep thinking small. You can't pray for a mountain-sized blessing with a teaspoon of belief. You got to believe bigger. Every great success story starts with someone who refused to shrink their faith to fit their circumstances. When life gets smaller, that's your cue to dream bigger. You feel me? When the money's low, that's your cue to think higher. When the way looks blocked, that's your cue to believe harder, because the size of your vision determines the size of your victory. So when life tells you to settle, don't listen. When the odds are stacked against you, you feel me. Remember who stacked them and who can unstack them, because Steve Harvey will tell you, the God who brought you out before can bring you out again. You feel me? The only thing that can limit him is your belief. So no matter what life looks like right now, believe bigger. You feel me? Because you're not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on you to believe big enough to receive it. Steve says this all the time. If it's meant for you, you feel me. God's going to make sure you get it. You can't miss what's yours. That's the kind of truth that makes you exhale. You feel me? Because in a world where everyone's racing, comparing, stressing, and hustling, it's easy to think you're behind. You feel me? But Steve will tell you straight, you ain't behind.
You're right on time.
Just not your time. See, we live in a microwave generation that wants everything fast. Success, love, money, answers. But God don't work on your clock. He works on his. And his timing, it's perfect. You might not like it. You might not understand it. You feel me? But when it finally unfolds, you'll look back and say, oh, that's why it took so long. Here's how Steve explains it. Me. Sometimes God delays the blessing because he's still preparing the blesser. Sometimes he's working behind the scenes, lining up the people, the places. You feel me? The opportunities, all the stuff you can't see yet. And when it all clicks, it'll happen so smooth, it'll feel sudden. But it ain't sudden. It's strategic. You feel me? Steve shares a powerful moment about this in his life. He said when he was living out of his car, he prayed every day for a breakthrough. Nothing happened for years. You feel me? He thought maybe God had forgotten him. Then one day, out of nowhere, he got a call to appear on Showtime at the Apollo. That moment changed everything. But here's the truth. You feel me? That call wasn't sudden. God had been setting it up the whole time. Every no, every delay, every disappointment. It was all part of the setup. You feel me? Because when God finally says, now, he means now. And that's why Steve always reminds people, don't rush what God is still writing. You might be in chapter 4 of your life looking around like, man, you feel me. When is my breakthrough coming? But God's still setting up chapter 10. And when you get there, you'll see why you had to go through every page before it. You feel me? Trusting God's timing means releasing control. It means saying, God, I don't know when, but I know you will. I don't know how you feel me, but I know you're working, because faith is not just believing God can do it. It's trusting that he'll do it at the right time. You feel me? And that trust, that's what gives you peace in the waiting. So don't envy someone else's season. Don't rush your process. Don't think you missed your chance. You feel me? What's meant for you, your blessing, your opportunity, your purpose. It's got your name on it, and nobody can take it, delay it, or destroy it. You feel me? Because when God's timing hits, you won't have to chase it. It'll find you. Steve says it best. Delay don't mean denial. If God showed it to you, he's going to deliver it on his time, not yours. So while you're waiting, don't complain. Prepare. Let me tell you something. Life ain't going to play fair. You feel me? It's going to hit you hard, sometimes harder than you think you can take. You'll lose people. You'll lose money. You'll lose opportunities. You'll fall flat on your face and wonder if you'll ever rise again. But here's what I learned every time I thought God was breaking me. He was really building me. You feel me? Every time I thought he was silent, he was really setting me up. Every time I thought it was over, he was just saying, boy, you feel me. I ain't done with you yet. What faith is what kept me alive when fear said I should quit. Faith is what got me up when I had nothing left. You feel me? Faith is what turned my car into a classroom, my pain into purpose, and my mess into a message. Because when you walk with God, you feel me. The story don't end when you fall. It ends when you get back up. You might be down right now. You might be tired, confused, or scared. But if you're still breathing, that means God still has a plan. So don't you dare let your circumstances define you. Don't you dare let your past stop you. Don't you dare let fear win. You hold on to your faith, even if it's the size of a mustard seed, because that's all God needs to move mountains in your life. And one day, not maybe, you feel me, not if, one day you're going to look back and realize that everything that tried to destroy you was actually the thing that developed you. The storm didn't break you. The storm didn't break you. The pain didn't stop you. It shaped you. So the next time life knocks you down, don't just cry about it. Get up and grow through it. Laugh through it. Pray through it. Keep walking through it. You feel me? Because the God who got you through yesterday will carry you through today. And when it's all said and done, you're going to stand on the other side of that storm and say, you feel me? I made it. Not because I was strong, but because I had faith. So keep your head up. Keep your heart open. Keep believing. You feel me? Because when life knocks you down, faith will pick you right back up.